Joe, thanks very much for coming in today.
My pleasure.
Joe is from Intellect Finance, and you're going to have a bit of a chat to me about some of the issues that businesses face, and also a little bit about your own business and how you started, and some of the financial aspects that we need to consider, but just generally talking about how to run a business.
Okay.
So thanks very much for your time.
My pleasure, no worries. Thank you for inviting me on.
Pleasure. I was just wondering, how did you initially come to start your own business? Like, tell us a little bit about how that happened.
I initially started working in banking. So I worked for the Arab Bank for a couple of years and the Commonwealth Bank for a few years.
Yeah.
And then I decided I wanted to do mortgage broking to give people more options.
Yeah.
So when I worked for Commonwealth Bank, the loan had to fit with Commonwealth Bank or I had to send the people away. But now, if it doesn't fit with a certain bank, I can go to another bank. So you can actually, people don't need to, I should be able to help people out no matter whatever their scenario is.
Right, okay,
Yeah.
Excellent. So when you came to start your own business, how did you sort of go around about finding customers in the first place?
I had existing clients of word of mouth.
Yeah.
I did my own, there wasn't, social media wasn't as prominent back then. It was, we had a website, basic website. I set up my business name. I started off as a sole trader.
Yeah.
And I did letter drop boxes.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And newspapers or?
And newspapers as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
They're expensive though. They were expensive.
They were. Yeah.
Awesome. So in terms of setting up a business, one of the things that's worth considering is what are my costs going to be, or do I need to sort of set up a budget to start with? So if you're sort of giving advice to someone who was thinking about starting a business in a couple of years, what would you sort of say to them about that?
I definitely do a cash flow projection, and you want to be prepared going into business, assuming that maybe for the first year you might not make any money. So you've got to take into account all your costings, how much is it going to, the regular costs and the one-off costs as well, setting up.
Okay. Yeah, because when you set up, you've got a few costs there before you even start the business, don't you?
That's right, yeah. Setting it up, yeah.
You've got legal, you probably need a bookkeeper or an accountant to start with.
Yes, and then do you need to rent out a premises? Yep. That's a high cost. So if it's in Westfields, it's very expensive, or if it's on the street, it might be cheaper.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. So rent's a big cost, yeah. And as you say, and in terms of yourself, you had to get some qualifications too, or pay some different fees for things. So what sort of things were those?
There are some regulatory fees. There's ASIC, MFAA fees. We've got to do. I did a Bachelor of Commerce.
Yeah.
But you've also got to do a Diploma of Finance as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there's quite a bit to think of. So I guess one of the things that I was wondering is if someone comes to you, for example, and they're like a small business, and they want to know what sort of loan what sort of information they need, or what sort of things you'd be looking at if they're looking for a loan. What sort of advice would you say if a small business is thinking, I might need to get a loan?
Okay, so if it's an existing business, we'd look at the previous financials for the business, so the last 3 years.
Yep.
If also would go through their business accounts, we'll look at the assets and liabilities. Is the business profitable? If it's not profitable, why isn't it profitable?
Yeah.
I mean, have they had? Is it been not profitable for the last few years or the last year? Basically looking at, is the business doing well? Yes. Yeah.
So I assume that if a business isn't profitable for a couple of years, then they'd be hard pressed to get a loan unless they've got capital. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess why are they in business if it's not profitable? It could be short term. There are businesses that fluctuate. So there are businesses that have really good months and then maybe a month where they don't have much business. Yeah. We can cash flow lending can help them out. Overdraft can help them out.
Okay. Yeah.
So they can cover them during the periods when they're not making money, and then when they do make the money, they can clear it.
Okay.
We do cash flow lending as well for businesses that do have those bad periods.
Yeah. So as someone that sort of talks to a lot of different business owners looking for different sort of solutions, could you just kind of explain the different sorts of loans that people can get, because there's such a variety of them?
Oh, there is, yeah. So you've got your long-term loans or your short-term loans. Your short-term loans, you've got your cash flow lending.
Yeah.
If they're going for a period where they're not making much money, but annually they do make good money.
Okay.
They will give them a percentage of their turnover to cover them during their down period. Okay. But your permanent facilities are more like your business loans, or your overdrafts as well. The overdraft's meant to fluctuate. So for your day-to-day business needs. So the seasonal businesses that make good money 1 month and 1 month they don't make. You've got a permanent overdraft to cover you in the month where you haven't received any income from your people that owe you money.
What sort of things would a business loan, like why would I need a business loan as opposed to like a cash flow loan?
To grow your business.
Okay,
To grow your business. So, yeah. I guess it depends on the type of business. I mean, if it's somebody that's got trucks and need to buy a truck, we can do asset finance. Or if they need to buy a bigger facility, we can do a business loan for them. If they're renting, they currently want to move into
a warehouse or something.
A warehouse, yeah. We can do a business loan for them.
Yeah.
So the overdraft's more a fluctuating day-to-day business needs, and the cash flow is even shorter, short-term loans as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So apart from the kind of period of time we're talking about, are the requirements kind of different? So in the case of I want to buy a bigger premises, or like maybe I've got a shop and I need a big shop, or I've got a warehouse, I need a bigger warehouse, buying or renting, expanding. In that circumstance, are the kind of criteria different? Like, do I need to think about different things as a business owner, or is it pretty similar?
I mean, if you're growing your business, I guess you'd want to do an initial cash flow projection.
Yeah.
We'd look at their past financials for the couple of years, and then their cash flow projections. If they were given this money to grow their business, is it going to increase their cash flow?
Yeah.
I guess just cash flow projections is the main one, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once again, it's a little bit of budgeting in the sense of, okay, so if I've got bigger premises, how many more customers can I service? How much more profit does that make me, etc.
That's right, exactly. Yeah.
I guess the other thing would be, if I'm thinking about buying an existing business, what sort of things do I need to think about that I need to get from the previous owner so I know what's going on?
Definitely, I'd be looking at the last few years' financials, last 3 years' financials. The banks are going to ask them anyway if they're going to apply for finance.
Yeah.
I'd be going through the business accounts.
Yeah.
I'd be looking at the assets and liabilities of the business, their debtors, their creditors, to see if the business is doing well. Do they owe people money, or do people owe them money?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because they're interesting little signs, aren't they? Like if they owe people a lot of money, then that's a concern because they're not paying their bills, so their cash flow or their turnover might not be quite as good as it looks.
Yeah.
The other way might be if people aren't paying them, they might be looking good on paper in terms of they have money that's supposed to come in, but if they can't actually get it, that's also a concern, isn't it?
That's right. That's correct. Yeah. And why are they selling the business?
Yeah.
If a business is doing really well, not everyone wants to sell it unless they were going to retire.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
makes more sense.
Yeah.
So one of the things you want to see is, okay, what's the real state of the business? And you mentioned the business accounts. Like for quite a while, I didn't understand that there was a difference between the accounts that are published and the internal accounts.
Cash. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So the internal accounts you're talking about, they're not available to the public, but if you're selling a business, you should be able to access those.
That's correct.
And they show, like, what sort of things do they show that aren't necessarily otherwise?
Basically, everything all the income that comes into the business, and all the expenses as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the financials do too good a job, and they don't really represent properly what the business is making.
Yeah, that's true. I had an interesting example where this guy I know, he bought a pizza business to help out because they were renting his space, and he thought, well, I could help them get more efficient, so he bought into it. But he didn't perhaps do as much due diligence as he should have. So he managed to get a lot of cost out by doing central shopping, like really cut down the costs on that side. But the staffing ended up being a big cost for him.
Oh, the labour costs, yes. So they were probably running their own bit, doing everything themselves.
Yes, that's right. Which is different to hiring people to do.
That's right. Yeah.
So that can be a hidden trap as well. It's like, so how does the business actually operate?
Yes.
And what would it be because these are all things you can find out in advance. Like what's the kind of legal wage I have to pay? What's the payroll tax cost? What's the superannuation costs? All those things. They're things you can find out in advance. So
that's right.
You can do a good estimate of those things. Yeah. Very good. And in terms of if someone was looking to buy a franchise, is that sort of any safer necessarily?
Like the major franchises like the McDonald's and the Portos, yes, they are safer because they a certain percentage is paid to the back to the franchisor,
right.
And so the figures have to be accurate. Otherwise, they're not going to get paid what they want to get paid.
Yeah.
And so everything's through the system basically. Whether it's a cash sale or if it's for FPOS, it's all going through back to the franchisor.
So those figures are more reliable.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. And I guess if it was a franchise that was starting as a new business, again, you've got the advice of the franchisor because they want the turnover as well, or the sort of the customers coming past or whatever it is. Versus if you're starting your own business yourself, you don't necessarily know how many customers have been coming in to a particular location.
That's right. Yeah, it's hard to work out the traffic that you're going to receive. Yeah, exactly. And you got to look at the demographics as well of the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. So if you're looking at a coffee shop, for example, like who's coming into a coffee shop, I wouldn't even know where to begin on like the demographics of a coffee shop. So that's tricky, isn't it? Yeah. So,
I guess with coffee shops, I mean, I'd say it'd be where there's a lot of office workers.
Yeah.
More, whereas if it's a lot of retirees, they're probably not going to go in and buy a coffee.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that is being generalistic, but
no, that's a good point. Yeah. And I suppose the point that you're making there really is there's a lot of homework you can do before you start a business, isn't there?
There is a lot of research you can do, yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of agencies you can that have a lot of data that you can access.
Okay.
There's professionals like yourself that can give advice on businesses.
Yeah. And I suppose the other thing is you could do some courses like you may not have to go and do a university course, but you could do some short courses on, Accounting 101 or do a TAFE course on finance or something.
Or an online course.
An online course.
Yeah.
There's lots of different ways of getting information.
You've got a few courses online, don't you?
I do, yeah. Yes. And if someone was starting out, like what advice would you kind of give them? Like say they've just finished their qualification and they're wanting to start a business in 5 years' time, say, what do they need to do while they're sort of building up their professional experience?
Yes, so after they've got their experience, I think I'd be prepared and I'd have some money set aside, assuming for the next 12 months, when they start their business, they might not make any money, do the cash flow projection, see what the ongoing costs are going to be and how much revenue they're going to need to be able to be viable. The first year, they're probably not going to make any money, so they've got to be prepared for that.
Yes.
So to have money set aside to cover you for the first year at least, when you're not making any money.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. And I suppose the other thing too is in a budget you can also sort of set yourself up. So how long am I prepared to go without a salary? How long can I go without a salary?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So there's a few things you can kind of do in a budget that allow you to prepare for the reality of running a business.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Excellent. Was there anything else that you wanted to sort of say about starting a business in terms of advice?
I guess but people start their own business ultimately they enjoy what they do and they hopefully make more money than working for somebody.
Yes.
So I think, but there's more responsibility, there's more budgeting. You've got to, and there's a lot more hours actually that you've got to put into the business as well.
Yeah. I think that's one of the sort of false calculations that people make before they get into business. They go, oh, I'm going to make X dollars, but they don't do the hours they've got to put in.
No, especially food businesses. The 7 day a week food businesses, if you look at their hours that they're doing, and you divide it, and it's actually not making that much.
No, that's right, exactly. Yeah. So the ultimate figure at the end of the year might look good, but if you look at how many hours
they've worked, like
my hourly rate is $50. What am I doing? Excellent. And in terms of setting up, I mean, these days you've got to have a website. What else do you need?
These days, social media is very important. I mean, I'll be looking. Website is just the bare minimum. Yeah, you've got to go into your Instagrams, especially the food business. Yeah. Your Facebooks, your TikToks, your LinkedIn. Yeah, it's all very important now.
And also, I've sort of noticed that it depends a bit on which one of those. You might have to do all of them, but you might focus on one that's more important. So maybe LinkedIn for professional services, but Instagram for food, or TikTok for, I don't know.
You're right there. Yes, but Google's our main one as well, actually.
Yeah.
Google advertising. Yeah. Especially when you're starting out.
Yeah, to get people to find you.
A lot of people actually do look at the Google reviews. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I do. And if I'm looking at a business, I'll read the reviews before I go in there. Yeah.
Look at a couple of good ones and a couple of bad.
That's right. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. That's been really helpful.
My pleasure.
Okay. I hope you enjoyed that video. Please check out my website, dominicmclaughlin.com, and check out my free course on businessleaderslab.com.